Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast, the football podcast we bring you each and every week. It is Thursday. It's Thursday Tier Talk. Darren, how are you, my friend?
Hanging in there, brother, yourself?
Not too bad at all. It's been an interesting week, to say the least, for football. A lot of the English sides struggling somewhat in Europe. But we'll take a look. We'll take a quick look back at the Champions League after we've done the Premier League preview. But before we start the show, my friend, and make sure, folks, you're subscribing and liking and all that kind of stuff. But before we start the show, sadly, a Bayern Munich fan last night lost his life at the game. Died following a medical emergency during their Champions League win over Benfica on Wednesday night. The club has confirmed. The supporter died while being taken to hospital after requiring attention in the stands just 3 minutes after the kickoff. Fans in the Sudkruv, I think is the way you pronounce that, the most vocal section of support, refrained from singing or chanting for most of the match out of respect to their fellow supporters. So hats off to them. So I'd just like to say our thoughts, prayers and condolences to the family of that supporter and all. And we always say you should never not come home from a match when you go to one and stuff like that. Very, very sad. Thoughts, Darren?
Yeah, I just echo what you'd say. Obviously, nobody goes to football and shouldn't come home. It's very sad, isn't it? I just think at times that I think the German fans, they're really good. They're really good fans. You know, we've seen the yellow wall and stuff like that. And if you just read the last section there, they refrain from chanting out of respect for their fellow supporter. It's just top drawer, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very sad though. And do you know something? A lot of this seems to be occurring. Is it just me over the last number of years? We seem to be getting a lot of people having medical emergencies at matches. Is it in the? I don't remember a lot of this happening in the past. Is it just the fact that maybe it wasn't reported, or the level of reporting now is such more microscopic? What's your thoughts on that? Because we seem to see it now every couple of weeks, someone taking a turn at a game and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say we've seen quite a lot of it, to be honest with you. Again, more than I can remember in the past. I suppose since COVID, things changed. And there's just slightly more going on with things, and it's just affecting people a little bit more,
Yeah, absolutely. But as I said, thoughts, prayers and condolences. Obviously with Bayern Munich, the greater fan base, but clearly his family as well and close friends and all. It's a shame to go and support your club and to, for that to happen. Very, very sad. Just to let you know, folks, Chelsea are 6-0 up. Noah's Ark is getting sunk at the bridge. United are coming back out at half time. It's 0-0 there at the moment. Big shout for Ahmad. Should have had a penalty, probably. I don't know if you watched it. Your thoughts on it?
I didn't see it. I didn't see it, to be honest with you. I'm only, I'm racing against the clock on a Thursday to get home and get dinner and stuff in before the podcast. So I haven't seen any of it. I have it on here now in front of me, so I can do a little bit of watch along in the second half. But I didn't see what happened in the first half, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. You can keep us updated as we go along. I have it here as well.
I sure will.
Right, let's start. Premier League preview. Let's begin. Brentford versus Bournemouth.
Yeah, two teams at the opposite end of the spectrum after last weekend, isn't it? Obviously, Brentford looked like they were going to pick up 3 valuable away points with Fulham on Monday night, only for Harry Wilson to spoil the party very, very late on in the day. I don't know if you've seen the goal with the flick. It was outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. And then you've Bournemouth, who beat the champions, and quite deservedly, I would have said as well. And they were good value for their win, Bournemouth. Really, really good job. Andoni Iraola's down there at Bournemouth. I've mentioned him a number of times. I'm a big, big fan of his. And Bournemouth playing some really good football and picking up some really big scalps throughout the season so far.
Yeah, I was actually following the match on Monday night when we were doing the show with Mark, and I don't know if you watched the tail end of the show, but the tail end of the show, basically, Thomas Frank had made that change. I think he took off a forward player and he put on, did he take off Mbeumo? And he put on either a defensive midfielder or a defender. I'm not too sure. At 1-0, he was 1-0 up, and I said to him, what are you doing? This is typical Thomas Frank. He's done this a couple of times this season, and it ends up just folding for him. And I said to Mark, watch this.
He took off. There was 87 minutes gone. He took off Brian Mbeumo, and he put on Ben Mee. And within 5 minutes, it was 1-1. And within 10 minutes, they were 2-1 down.
And I said to Mark, and both goals by Harry Wilson, 2 cracking goals as well.
Yeah.
And I said to Mark when he took off the Guemo, I said, watch this, Mark. This is typical Thomas Frank now, trying to shut down a 1-0 away from home. And I said, I think there's either 3 or 4 times he's tried to do this season, and they've all backfired on him, every one of them. So yeah, bit of thinking there to be done, really, Thomas Frank. Joanne's going for a 2-2 in the Brentford-Bournemouth game. What are you thinking on this?
I'm just going to get my predictions up, actually, because I'm pretty sure this is part of my beat the bookie or something. Hang on, let me have a look here. Do you know what? I don't think Joanne's miles away with our prediction, but I think Bournemouth might just nick this. So I'm going to go 2-1 Bournemouth.
Yeah, I think that's what I was thinking. I might have something in the beat the bookie on this as well, and I was thinking.
I actually don't have anything in it, but I know I looked at it, so.
Yeah, I won't refer back to it though, but I'll say we'll know at the end anyway.
Yeah,
United on the attack here in the
go
box
outside,
corner.
hit it.
Yeah, Crystal Palace, Fulham.
Yeah, obviously we've just spoken about Fulham and their kind of forthcomings last week where they didn't get over the line, being 1-0 up after 89 minutes, so to speak. Palace had a good game, I thought, away at Wolves. Didn't get over the line, but it was a much better performance. It was much more like, what we've kind of expected. Now, they went into the Wolves game last weekend, obviously without Olise because he left in the summer, but also without Eze. Now, when you're missing your 2 best players and you go away from home and you should win the game, your performance has been pretty good. That should have been 1-0. So, yeah, I think they're definitely on the road to recovery. Palace, I think he'll obviously look to make a couple of changes maybe in January again and replace some of what's left the building in Anderson and in Olise and stuff like that. But I think Palace might just win this. I think it'll probably depend on what happens with Eze. But the performance last week was much, much better. And I think at Selhurst Park, it's not an easy place to go. I know it's a London derby and stuff, but I'm just going to go Palace to nick this 2-1. Hit it first time. Oh, God, come on.
I'm going to go the reverse. I think Fulham are going to nick it 2-1. I think Fulham are kind of riding a little bit of a crest at the moment and stuff like that. And I think they might be able to carry it into this. But again, it depends on the situation with SA. I agree with you on that one. West Ham, Everton.
Yeah, this is a big game. This is a really, really big game. 2 sides obviously beaten last weekend. Southampton turned Everton over, and West Ham were absolutely trounced by Notts Forest. They haven't been great this season. At home, though, they've been slightly better. Obviously picking up wins against United and stuff like that, and did another good win the week before that against Ipswich 4-1 and stuff. So I think I'm just going to favour West Ham on this occasion. Now, I think Lopetegui needs a win here because he needs a bit of breathing space. I think Everton have again struggled away from home, but have looked much, much better, much more solid at home. So with that down on the table, I think I'm just going to go with West Ham, and I'm going to go West Ham 3-1.
3-1.
Yeah,
that'll cheer up Stephen anyway. Lopetegui to get sacked if we lose according to Steinberg.
Hold on, Niall. Ball in over the top. Garnacho down the left-hand side. Gets the defender, stands him up. He's on the byline. Little trick once or twice. Cuts the ball back into Dalot. Dalot gives it back out to Garnacho. Garnacho looks to shape. Gives it to Fernandez. Fernandez whips it to the back stick. And Amad Diallo with a header on the back post. And it's 1-0 Manchester United. Took the goal really well there as well.
Yeah. And a handful of lads on the line trying to rob the goal off the kid as well.
Couple of them, yeah. There was a few boys there looking for something. It's good though. Garnacho does well. He goes in behind with the ball over the top from Dalot. Keeps it, doesn't do anything silly, recycles the ball, and when it gets to Fernandez, he just picks out a beautiful pass to the back stick, and Amad wins the header. Now everybody's looking, and we're looking at VAR by the sounds of it.
Something being checked here. These refs signaling checked. Help players away. Let's see.
Is he off
from here? No, everyone's on there.
Everyone's miles on.
Everyone's on there. Was there a little? I don't know. The only thing I think of was there a little push. No, there was no push or no. That's a good goal.
No, that
No,
stands.
that should
stands.
stand anyway.
Yeah, if that doesn't stand, we're in trouble. I tell you what, though, I don't know. I've just seen the view from behind it. I'm not sure if he's trying to score with the header
or play it back in.
Yeah, it looks like maybe he's trying to knock it back across, and what happens is it loops off the outside of his head and goes in the far corner. Like, listen, he'll take it all day long.
Yeah, 100%.
And I believe he was our best player in the first half. That everything good about United went through him. So, he probably deserves it as well.
Absolutely. Next up, Wolves versus Southampton.
Wolves versus Southampton. Yeah, again, like I watched the Wolves Palace game last weekend, and I enjoyed watching it. It was a good game of football and stuff like that. Wolves at times look really, really good, but they've just got this really soft centre at the back. Like you watch some of the attacking football, some of the one-touch stuff, some of the moves down the sides and the interchanging in the forward positions, really, really good, like really good football. And you can see Gary O'Neill has them very well drilled, I've got to say, between the goalkeeper and, close, Pauk, very close there. But between the goalkeeper and the back three, honestly, it's so soft. It's like an eclair that's had to been out in the sun getting baked. It's mush. And that's ultimately what Gary O'Neill has to try and fix. Now, I do think they'll have enough on Southampton purely because their attacking play is really good. They make Molineux, a decent place to go. And so I think Wolves will do this here. And I'm actually going to go Wolves 3-1.
Southampton on the back. Southampton picked up a win last week, didn't they, against Everton?
Yeah, they sure did.
It was a goal disallowed in injury time. Beto with a goal disallowed, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Brighton versus Man City. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, this is absolutely going to be interesting. I think Brighton possibly didn't get all they deserved last week at Anfield. That was the game I was watching at the 3 o'clocks. And I did think they were a little bit unlucky. I thought in the second half they slowed down a little bit and gave Liverpool a chance to come into the game. But I thought in their first half performance, they probably deserved to get something out of the game.
Could have been 2 or 3-0 up at half time.
Absolutely, and that's where I would say, they should have got something out of it. I think City obviously are in a position we haven't seen them in before, where 3 defeats on the bounce, the Carabao Cup defeat to Spurs, the defeat against Sporting, which we'll talk about later, with a big smile on our face, and the defeat to Bournemouth last weekend. So City are in a really unfamiliar position at the minute. I think that would be amazing, Joanne. I really would. But I think it'll probably go the other way. I think it'll be City by... I think it'll be probably City 2-1. And a bit of a, backs against the wall job for Pep and the boys, but just to get out of there with the victory. I think sometimes you need to grind one out and then you can start playing football again.
I like Bonker's shout on it too. I think it could be.
I bet you do like it.
Well, I like it. I like it from the point of view that I don't think Brighton will change a whole lot. I think Fabian Hutzler, I think he's a baller of a coach kind of thing, and he's not going to be overawed by Man City like any other club he's come up against. And I think, to be honest with you, if they put in the shift that they put in against us in that first half at Anfield, and are a bit more clinical in front of goals with Danny Welbeck and stuff like that, there could be a bit in them for this,
Absolutely, and we know they're no pushovers. They've obviously beaten us. They put it up to you guys. They got a great result at the Emirates and stuff like that. So, they're a really, really good side. I think Brighton at times are a much better team and they play against better sides because they're not looking to try and break them down as much. And if it goes into an end-to-end sort of a basketball game, Brighton fancy themselves at that,
Yeah, you when we were talking during the summer before the season started, early August, you made the point about the likes of Julian Alvarez leaving the building and City not going and spending that money.
Yeah.
Is this kind of coming back to bite them now? We know Gundogan's come in, but we know he looks kind of a pale shadow of the player that left Man City, say 12 months previous and stuff like that, to go to Barca and all. Now, obviously, losing Rodri is huge. I know people will turn around and go, well, it's City and they should have a squad, this and the other. Rodri's a huge player for them. There's no doubt about it. What's your feeling on City at the moment?
I thought at the start of the season they were short, and I still think they're short. I tipped Arsenal to win the league this season. I didn't think City would get to the level that they got to last season. And I was expecting a drop off from Liverpool. Now, it hasn't happened at the minute. And the natural progression was Arsenal from last season to propel themselves to a title. I think Arsenal are paying the penalty for not, investing in their squad as well. But I think it's the same at City. I think if you look at it, like they're missing a backup number 9. I think Haaland is playing game after game after game, and he looks tired at times. There's no Alvarez. You don't have that secondary striker. I think they're missing a little bit of cutting edge. And I think between that and what they have, you've got obviously Savinho, who's done okay since he's come in. You've got Doku again, who's done okay at times. You got Grealish. At times he looks okay, other times he doesn't. So you don't really have anyone that's poor. You've nobody that every single week is first name on the team sheet and doing the job that you would want them to do. And I to be honest,
De Bruyne missing, Bernardo Silva starting to look like his age.
Yeah, and Gundogan not being
the guy,
a quick technical player. He's a lovely technical footballer, and we know his ball retention is great. And he'll pick passes and stuff like that. But he doesn't have massive, what I would describe, pace or cutting edge on the counter attack. The way they like to, pick teams off, and Foden as well has been absolutely shocking. Yeah, he's been shocking.
Yeah. And then when you look at the way they've played as well, they've been leaning so much on the likes of Kovacic for a goal, Vardiol for a goal and stuff like that.
If you take Kovacic and Vardiol's goals out this season, City be in a really tough spot right now.
Yeah, I think you can remember is there probably 2 games with Haaland? Did he get like hat-tricks and stuff like that? No, but
there was a couple of games where he got 3 or 4. I think he had 7 after the first 3 games, didn't he? And I think after 11 games now or 10 games, I think he's only got about 12. So it has slowed down massively. But
you kind of look at it and you think where the goal's going to come from. You know what I mean? Because Doku really ain't producing. Grealish is kind of in and out. Bernardo Silva.
Grealish and Doku generally don't score that many goals. They haven't at City at all. That's a great ball in behind. Go on, hit it first time. He took a touch.
Good
and it brought him wide. Well, he's hit the keeper with it, but I think if he hits it earlier, you're obviously watching the same thing as me. If he hits that now, but if he hits it now earlier, I think you have a better opportunity. Whereas I think when you just wait too long, the angle narrows that little bit, and it's much easier to hit the keeper, Yeah. Listen, great move, and obviously great that the kid is on the end of it again. But you got to be putting teams like this to bed so you can get a couple of lads off and get them ready for the weekend.
Yeah, big game for United. It's a big game for United tonight as well, obviously, because starting off with 3 draws ain't really the recipe that you want.
Yes, great.
So you need your 3 points tonight.
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
That's just thoughts on Man City at the moment. It's weird at the moment because I'm sitting back, and things couldn't be going any better for us, obviously, you know what I mean? We couldn't be going any better. And then I'm sitting back and I'm looking at Arsenal in absolute disarray. We'll talk about Arsenal when we get to the Arsenal game, obviously. And Man City in absolute disarray as well, all over the place and stuff like that. And it's interesting,
That's a penalty. That's a penalty. That's a penalty. That's a penalty. Why are we not looking at this? Hold on, sorry. Garnacho gets the ball down the left-hand side, goes chop with the defender. Now he's in between 2 defenders. Now,
is that not the one we seen before where he kicks the guy in the back of the leg and it's not given? Didn't we see one of these before? He's kicked him in the back of the leg there, hasn't he?
Your man has put his foot in the way.
Yeah,
they don't give sense. Yeah.
We had a couple of them in the Prem a few weeks ago as well, didn't we? Where he got kicked in the back of the leg and it wasn't given.
The second time round, it didn't look as bad. I actually feel there was less contact than I saw at full speed.
That's which means it's 1-0. You're an emotional fan. It's all good.
No. But I mean, like that's
pressure. Pressure oozing through the screen.
Isn't this how VAR should work?
Yeah.
Like at first glance, I thought that was a penalty. So if I award that, right, as a referee, and I look back at it, and then I go, do you know what? That's not a pen. Ball out. Job done.
And we did it in less than 5 seconds.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it really only takes a split second, because again, 99% of the time, it's the gut instinct of what you think is right. So go with it. Go with the gut. Like, we're calling offsides in about 3 seconds. As soon as you see the lad, you're like, boom, nah, he's off.
Yeah. Even for tight ones.
Even for tight ones.
Yeah.
And you're still watching guys drop down lines and draw lines, and it's just dragging and dragging. Changes on the way. Marcus Rashford and Lisandro Martinez coming on for Manchester United.
He's hardly going to go the route like Ten Hag now. He's hardly going to hook Ahmad, is he? Because Ahmad's having
I wouldn't think so.
Because this was kind of the Ten Hag flavour, wasn't it, really?
I wouldn't think so, but it'll be interesting to see if he does. Now, if he does, I would be disappointed. He played early. What a ball. Unlucky. Defender got back in. I think he might. I think he might hook Highland here.
Interesting. Right, let's get into this.
Liverpool at the minute, at the minute, Garnacho and Ahmad look to be the two of the three who are, on things. And I think, so it'll be interesting. I think he'll hook Highland, but we shall see in a moment.
Keep an eye on it anyway.
Yeah,
Liverpool,
absolutely.
Villa coming in on the back of a little bit of a wobble from Villa at the moment. Yeah,
two defeats. I mean, Spurs absolutely took them apart last weekend. Took them apart, and it was a tremendous performance from Spurs. Hang on, and Eriksen. Sorry, 3. We're getting 3 of them. Okay, so Martinez is coming off. We've taken the throw in. We'll go back to it. I thought Spurs, something funny happens with Spurs, right? And I don't know if you've noticed this. I'm going to give you a little heads up on it straight away. Spurs go and have a real bad result, and then they have a second one. But just as things are about to get touchy for Ange, performance. And it's always a big one. And if you look at a couple of weeks ago, they did it with City. It was just when he was starting to feel a little bit of pressure and things were starting to poke and prod at him. And all of a sudden they knock City out. And then he picks up a win in the Europa or whatever it was. And then boom, he tonks Villa. And now all of a sudden, so he's able to turn things around very quickly, Ange. Villa, I think, at the minute, look tired. Yeah. They look like a team that we spoke about before the season started, that they might feel the pace at times. And we talked about Unai Emery trying to make that squad a little bit bigger and trying to just create a little bit of extra energy and stuff like that in the squad. And I think, is that 1-1? Oh, that should have been 1-1. That's a sitter. That should have been 1-1. There's a ball played through and he picks up the ball on the penalty spot and he's completely unmarked. Watch this. On the penalty spot.
Oh, my God. How would you go in after that and call yourself a professional footballer? Good Lord.
Oh, man.
Sure, he had both sides of the goal.
And he passed it to Onana down the middle.
Passed it straight back to Onana down the middle.
So who's coming off for Martinez? Oh, no, he's taking... Who's he hooking?
Garnacho.
He's hooking 17. So Garnacho for Rashford. So Rashford will go down the left. Ahmad will stay on the right. And Hoydel will stay up front.
He's not happy Garnacho through the head.
No, because he's been doing okay. Ugarte going off. Obviously Eriksen coming in to do a job. Ugarte picked up a softish yellow a couple of minutes ago, so probably a bit of protection there as well. And Martinez coming in for Diogo Dalot, so he's going left back.
We shall see.
Yeah, Liverpool obviously, just singing off the hymn sheet at the minute. Good result last weekend against Brighton, get back into it. And then absolutely taking Leverkusen apart on Tuesday evening in the Champions League. Yeah, just took them apart. Nice to see Diaz what he did what he do what he did, because I know we talk about it all the time. I'm certainly a big Luis Diaz fan. I think at times he toils a little bit and we don't get the end product that we should get with him. But it was nice for him to get, a couple of goals and even the hat-trick and really just cement the performance, because he does tear teams apart at times, but the numbers aren't nearly as good as they need to be from him.
Definitely are this season, though. This season, he's way more clinical than
He's
last season.
better. He's absolutely
Yeah.
better. But I still even think with the volume of football he has, and with the chances he creates and stuff like that,
There should be
and
more.
there should be more. There should be. We've got to
Yeah.
judge him like we judge other guys in the team,
Yeah.
you know, because and he really is like his play at times is just phenomenal. The way he dribbles with the ball and his balance, and he chinks in and out and stuff like that. Such great speed and poise. Really, really good. But just at times he gets a bit rash, gets a bit snatchy at things, and you know, something that should make its way into the bottom corner, it's just 2-3 feet wide, and it's almost nearly again. And you know, I think Liverpool will just keep things moving this weekend. I think this has Liverpool written all over it. I'm going to go Liverpool 3-1.
Yeah, consensus in the chat as well. I think so as well. Happy days. That'll be a great end to what was supposed to be a tough run of games. So very, very happy.
Brighton, Leverkusen, and Villa. And I mean, if you win against Villa, it's 3 really good wins in a row.
And Chelsea and Arsenal before that.
Absolutely, sorry.
And Leipzig.
Yeah.
So there we go. So yeah.
Now
absolutely.
Leipzig lost to Celtic. The other night, so they're not maybe in as good a shakes as we thought they were. The one thing I will say, and I know I said it in the chat, I'm not a huge Scottish football fan, as you know. Generally speaking, if it was in the back garden, I'd close the curtains. I watched about 40 minutes of Celtic the other night. They were unbelievable.
Yeah. They've kicked on since the Dortmund game, haven't they? Since the Dortmund game,
I have to give them their flowers. They were unbelievable. Like, yes, they won the game, but it was the manner in which they won the game. Like, I don't think 3-1 flattered them at all. They created the lion's share of the chances, and that game could have been. Had it been 5-2, I don't think Leipzig could have argued about it, to be honest with you. They were super. Some of the football was great, so you know, give Brendan Rodgers his flowers and stuff like that. They played some good stuff.
Yeah, I said it when Leipzig played us that I didn't think they were all that. I looked at their league form and stuff, and like they'd even been struggling at times against mid-table teams and stuff like that. And I thought their league position flattered them more than their play and stuff like that, to be honest. Man United versus Leicester.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a rerun of the Carabao Cup game from kind of last week, isn't it? I know Leicester will make quite a number of changes. They'll obviously, you'll see some of the first 11 play, obviously Vardy and stuff like that. But whether or not they'll play from the beginning, but I still think at home we should be able to beat Leicester. Thursday night football doesn't help, but I think we'll just get over the line. I'm going to go United 3-1 here.
Yeah, I think so. I think this season there's not a whole lot of Leicester except really at the King Power, to be honest. And even that's a stretch, to be honest. So I'm not too sure. Yeah, but I think this is United. Forest versus Newcastle. This is one I think that features in my beat the bookie as well.
Well, two teams that obviously had huge wins last weekend. Newcastle, you know, we talked about it happening at Spurs and Ange and stuff like that. Eddie Howe does the same thing. You know, a couple of bad performances, and all of a sudden you think, geez, Howe could be in trouble, and then they go and turn Arsenal over. And again, deservedly so. Nuno Espirito Santo doing a phenomenal job at Nottingham Forest. A really, really good job. Obviously, big news coming out of Forest this week as well with Edu and stuff like that. I'm sure we're going to talk about that. But they're putting paving stones in place to elevate the club to being a regular in the Premier League between their recruitment and obviously the work that they want to do to the stadium, and then on the managerial side and stuff. So gotta again give flowers to the lad, the Greek lad of Forest. Doing a really, really good job there as owner of the club and building that brand and stuff like that. Like for Forest to be third in the league is just outstanding. It really is. It's just outstanding. I don't think it'll go that way, Joanne. I actually have 1-1 because I think it's two good defenses, two well-organised teams, and two teams that score goals, but not necessarily in bagfuls.
Yeah, although Forest have been finding a way, haven't they? Woods is doing very well.
Yeah, Wood has done excellent.
Hudson-Odoi is doing well. Alanga's done well when he came in and stuff.
They've all like the tree behind Wood. Wood is obviously the standout. He's been excellent. But the lads we spoke about were the Anthony Alangas, the Morgan Gibbs White, and Callum Hudson-Odoi. And we thought at one stage last season, we spoke about them as a trio there with Gibbs playing as the number 10, and Hudson-Odoi and Alanga playing wider on the wings. Like, they're really good footballers. They're probably a step ahead of, what Forest are, but they're really, really good. And when you put a guy in who's a really good finisher like Chris Wood, he's good in the air, he takes penalties, he's calm in the box. Like, he does really, really well. They're playing very, very good. Still, I gotta say,
go on,
I know Wood has obviously scored a lot of the goals and stuff like that, but still, for me, the two stars of the show, and I know I've mentioned it quite a few times, Matt Sells, the goalkeeper, and the boy Murillo, the centre back. The two of them are absolutely phenomenal. They've been phenomenal.
We should mention Yates as well. In fairness, he's
been okay, but at times he doesn't play. He doesn't play every game.
Yeah,
he's in and out. And
when he plays, he reminds me. That kind of, that hard yards that you need in there to put in. Like, he puts in that work that needs to be in there. That work that kind of, dare I say, Hughes puts in midfield for Palace at times when he's in there.
So it's the Didier Deschamps, it's the water carrier role, isn't it?
Yeah, that kind of Makelele kind of hard work, that goes in there, that goes unnoticed and stuff. So
do me a favour, will you? Don't ever mention Ryan Yates' name in the same sentence as Claude Makelele again.
I'm not comparing them. I'm saying
good. Don't. Yeah, definitely don't do that, because we'd have an issue there, I have to be honest with you.
We would indeed. What are you going for 1-1 here?
I'm going to go for 1-1. Yeah, I just think it'll be tighter. I think Newcastle will, they'll keep it a bit tighter. Lewis Hall obviously got his England call up today as well. We thought that was a good signing when they brought him in from Chelsea, and we thought Livramento was a good signing. And the two boys are going to cement their places now at the back and the back four, the right back and the left back. When they get Botman back at centre back and get somebody in with him, they were looking for Gahey. Like, if you look at what that could have been Nick Pope, England, Livramento, England, Hall, England, Gahey, England, and Botman, one of the Dutch starting centre backs. That's a phenomenal back five. So, I know at times with the injuries and stuff like that, they haven't been able to get the team he wants on the pitch week in, week out and stuff. But I think the recruitment's been okay. And you add into that an Anthony Gordon, you add into that a Joe Linton, an Alexander Isak, a Bruno Guimaraes. They have 9 really good footballers. Yeah, they probably need someone on the right, and they possibly need another one in midfield or so. But they've made some good signings there. He's doing some good stuff, Eddie Howe and the board in behind. They just need to get more money in the door so you can spend it, isn't it?
And that's the big issue, especially with the news from last week that they were going to be pulling back on foreign investment and stuff. I think Forest are just going to squeak this 2-1. I think that's my thinking on it. I think home advantage might play a part here. Tottenham versus Ipswich. Tottenham wanting to bounce back after poor result tonight against Galatasaray. Really poor first half.
Yeah, listen, it's certainly not something that is their priority, I would say. Spurs are looking at Champions League. That's where they want to be. That's where the real money is. And I think, obviously, with the team he sent out tonight, obviously he started with the young lad, Lancashire, up front, who got the goal. Only a 19-year-old kid got the goal and then ended up getting a second yellow and getting sent off. Yeah. A bit naive, probably. But, they started to pour a little bit, Spurs. Certainly the victory last weekend with Villa, and obviously the victory as well against City in the Carabao. Spurs have started to hit their straps a little bit more. I fully expect Spurs to steamroll Ipswich the weekend. I think it'll be something pretty similar to what Bonkers has up there, 4-1. I think maybe 3, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was 4.
Yeah, absolutely. I would expect that as well. And then we rounded out then with Chelsea versus Arsenal.
Yeah, I didn't. Now, again, I'd be interested to hear. There you are, Morris. Good to have you, pal.
Wenger in.
I'll be interested to know what you think of this. I know, obviously, they were 6-0 up at half time. I didn't think Chelsea were great last weekend against us.
It was such a weird game, wasn't it?
I didn't think it was a great game. I thought the quality was miles off where it needed to be. But I did think with everything that went on in the game, Van Nistelrooy certainly would have been the happier. Maybe not the happier that we didn't get the victory, but certainly the play, the all-round play I thought was better from United. I thought there was a lot of guys at Chelsea that weren't where they should have been. And this is a team at Chelsea that we've given bouquets to over the last little while, and how Maresca's done and stuff like that. But I think there's a couple of guys that are starting to take their place in the team for granted. When that happens and you get that little drop off, I think you need to freshen it up a little bit. I'm shocked the boy Christopher Nkunku hasn't started more football. I really, really am. You know, he's a phenomenal footballer. He's done really, really well in the likes of the Carabao and in the likes of the conference and stuff like that. But if you don't give him game time in the league, there's not a lot the guy can do. And he hasn't had the game time. I'm just flicking through at the minute to see. Oh, hang on. He got one tonight again. Now, hang on. There's a goal coming here. Johnny Evans plays the ball into midfield. It goes to Christian Eriksen. First time he pings it out to the right-hand side. The left-back has it. Ahmad nicks it off the left-back. Really good from Ahmad.
Great finish.
There's a big, juicy deflection.
Looked like a typical Mo Salah finish, didn't it?
Well, he goes to curl it, but it hits the defender. But here's the thing. He's created the chance himself through the work rate and the endeavour to press Baba Rahman in the left-back position. The guy tries to take the ball down on his chest and thinks he has the freedom of Old Trafford. And because he has the freedom of Old Trafford, Ahmad decides, no, you don't, pal, I'm going to step in. And he nicks the ball off and does really, really well. And I mean, once you get the shot off there, you give yourself an opportunity. But he's done really, really well there. The defending is shocking.
Really
look at your man.
Look at getting robbed like that. That's shocking. And then the other two just standing off as well, not even closing the ball down or anything.
One of the other two.
The 21 there is as lazy as sin. He doesn't want to know. It's horrible.
As far as I know, it's Timu Bakayoko, ex-Chelsea and AC Milan. Remember he was at Napoli.
Whoever 21 is, he should be ashamed of himself there. I didn't catch the name of the back of the J's. That is shocking.
Sorry, just as we were speaking, Christopher Nkunku got his second goal in 8 minutes.
There you go.
And he has 2 assists as well. So he's 2 assists and 2 goals tonight. 4 goal involvements out of the 8.
Is this a case of I'll just take in some of the scores as well. Big up, son. Thanks for joining us tonight. 2-1 Arsenal. Yeah, and they need a big result as well. Arsenal and we're hearing Declan Rice as well broke a toe. I don't know if you heard that, but apparently he's going to play.
I heard that. Yeah, I heard he's going to play through the pain barrier, the broken toe. Good man, Declan. Yeah. Not like you're getting paid 250 grand a week, Grant. Get up off your hole with your sore toe. Fucking.
Tell us this then. Talk to me first of all. In terms of Chelsea and what you're talking about there, is this just a case of Maresca can't kind of land on a finished 11 that he wants to play? That's his 11.
Yeah, like I think there's room for improvement in what he's doing. And I think at times he's going in with the same 11 game in, game out for the league, which is great in one sense that you can build some familiarity and, you know where guys are going to be and stuff like that. But I don't necessarily think that some lads are getting the toss of the coin that they should be getting. Like when I look at it, obviously tonight's game, they have a midweek team at Chelsea. But if you look at the scorers tonight, right? Just listen to the names. So Felix got 2, Nkunku got 2, Mudryk got 1, and the boy Mark Gahey got 1. Yeah, the Spanish kid.
Yeah.
They got 6 goals between them, and like other guys on the pitch who are getting time as well. Enzo and stuff like that, and Dewsbury Hall and Chukwuemeka and. There's a lot in that Chelsea squad. I just find I know what 11's going to start for Chelsea on Sunday, which
and
also
the chances are
the
chances are those 4 scorers that you called out there may not even start.
Oh no, they absolutely won't start.
Yeah.
No, there's no likelihood of them starting. The front 4 will be, provided he's fit, and I haven't heard about that, but provided he's fit, the front 4 will be Madueke on the right. It'll be Neto on the left, Jackson up top, and Palmer behind.
if Palmer's out.
That's not a UFO on your telly, by the way. That's Mason Mount coming on with 10 minutes to go.
Speaking of Chelsea,
he's going to replace the goal scorer Amad Diallo, who looks like he's taking a bit of a knock. Now, there might be a little bit of protection in it, but Diallo's coming off, and he's going to be replaced by Mason Mount.
Freeze frame that and screenshot it. Morris thinks Palmer is out. He thinks doesn't show up against the top 6 anyway. So too much. He says he heard Del Boy and Coyle had a samba party during the week. They did, yeah. They were talking about. Talk to me then about Arsenal. What's going on at Arsenal? Edu exiting the building, heading off to Forest. I think he's going to be
Palmer is on fantasy football. Palmer's got a 75% chance of playing. So he probably has some sort of an injury, but it might not be enough to keep him out. Yeah, just on the Edu thing, like, it shows, it really shows that the Forest lad, Makanakis, what he wants to do with the brand. Rio Ave, he has in Portugal, and he's got obviously Olympiacos as well under the same umbrella. So you have 3 teams there, 3 teams all playing in the top division of their countries. And 3 teams that I'm sure he'd like to get involved in European football, and where you can start to do player sharing and you can sell from one side to the next. And like we've seen with the Red Bull model and stuff like that, I believe Eddie was going to go in and do a very similar sort of job for them as Jurgen Klopp is going to do at Leipzig. That's what I've heard. But like, it really shows, that they're aiming for the stars here. They're not just happy with what's going on at the minute. We'd like even more, which I love. I love that. I love when anyone shows that little bit extra and says, get in, and just shows that they're reaching for that brass ring. You don't always manage to get your hand on it, but just reach for it every now and again and let people know you want it.
Yeah.
Oh, good ball in that.
Morris in weak squad. Arsenal, but Liverpool get knocked out of the League Cup.
Arsenal are. I looked at the Arsenal team last night, and I got to be honest. We spoke about this a number of times. I spoke about it with you. We spoke about it with Morris. Like, you're in a big game. You're away to Inter Milan. They've obviously, been really, really good in the Champions League the last couple of seasons.
Yeah.
And you're going in, and like, just what he's taken off the bench, like Zinchenko, been so poor. The boy Ethan the Weary. Now listen, I do think he's going to be a really good footballer, this kid. Oh, there's an apt moment in the United game. Shola Shoretire, ex-Man United, coming on for Pauk.
There you go.
Looks like he's getting a pretty good reception from the crowd, which is nice for the lad. He was tipped for stardom at one stage, but
yeah, a 2-0. Yeah, if it had been 0-0, it might have been something different.
Absolutely. Yeah. They were willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. But I just think with what's coming off the bench, like even on the Arsenal bench, Nathan Butler, Oyedeji, Miles Lewis-Skelly, Joshua Robinson, Ethan Nwaneri, Tommy Sefford, Neto, like Jakub Kivior, Alexander Zinchenko. That bench is fucking dire. If that was a championship bench, we'd be asking questions. I will tell you now, and I haven't looked at it yet, but I'm gonna call it out. I can tell you now, Leeds had a better bench than that at the weekend, the championship. I can tell you that now. And you're talking about Arsenal, a team that have hopes and dreams set on a league title and on a Champions League and stuff like this. Now, what's the Leeds bench? Solomon, Matteo Joseph, Carl Darlow, Maximilian Wober, Samchet. It's probably has a similar level of shite as Arsenal, but one of them's in the Championship and one of them's in the Champions League. Like, give us a break. Do you know what I mean? It's poor. I think maybe Edu might have jumped before he was pushed.
What do you make of Arteta as well? Is Arteta kind of constructing his own downfall as well here, somewhat? You see him like some weeks he plays Havertz in the up the top, then he drops him back into midfield, then he plays him up the top, and he just like is Arteta like trying to play games here? Is he trying to be too clever for his own good kind of thing, or
No, well, is he saying I have to play him up front because you didn't buy me a striker? That's a possibility.
yeah, but then he plays him up front one game, and then the next game he drops him back in then to midfield. And they've seen from last season, for 6 months of last season playing him in midfield, he was woeful. And when they switched him up front, that's when they were on the tops from January onwards. So when you find a recipe that works, why are you tinkering with it? And you look at Arsenal
I don't think he ever plays as an out and out 9 though. He
much
always
more
drops deep. Yeah, but he's like, he's a 9.5 or a 10. He drops deep and he picks the ball up and stuff like that. So I think, the tune they got out of him last season. Yeah, I don't think I could disagree with you, Morris. Like, and that's phenomenal to think with what the squad he inherited to now is fairly poor, to say the least. The manager's responsibility to find a striker. Well, it is provided there's money there and it's available for him. And maybe Edu wasn't on the same wavelength as him. Maybe he didn't feel like you needed a striker. Now, listen, Stevie Wonder knew you boys needed a striker. We spoke about it before the season. I thought if Arsenal added a striker, there was a serious opportunity for them to go and do something, play it across. I think he's going to be offside either way. But
or the other side of it is that maybe Edu went in and wanted the likes of Sesko or whoever they were linked with, or maybe he wanted Ivan Toney or whatever it is, and the board said no, and he said his hands were tied, and then you suddenly get Raheem Sterling on the last day of the window, and you're looking going, how does that make sense?
The Sterling thing is obviously it's there's a little bit of a panic element to it there,
and it was cheap.
It was, but I mean, if you're going to win a league title, the last thing you should be doing is trying to, I know we've got to stay within profit and sustainability and all like that, but don't go cheap when you've baked a cake that tastes really good. Go and get the glossiest, shiniest fucking cherry in the world and just pop it on the top of it,
McGregor's WWE run isn't bothered at the moment.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is.
Yeah. I don't think so either.
No, neither do I got to be honest. I think what's coming out there is just
I think the word we would use is opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There was an opportunity spotted through somebody's hands, and then they went, "Oh, peep!" yeah, 100%. I think Greg put it pretty well in the group chat. We're getting close to Christmas. Kid wants an iPhone, a PlayStation, a telly in his bedroom, a North Face jacket, and a cuddly toy. What can I do?
Absolutely.
If she'd have been clever, she'd have just tapped him up for 10 grand. I mean, he'd have thrown her 10 grand to shut her mouth.
Apparently, from what I read, and I'm not going to get into the detail of it, but allegedly what I read, a much bigger offer was offered and it was turned down because they felt there was a lot more in the well.
If that's the case,
so I heard,
she deserves everything she gets to a degree. 89 minutes on the clock. 89 minutes on the clock. And you take off Hoyland and you bring on Xerxes. Why would you bother giving him 4 minutes if you know he's a little bit down on his luck and he hasn't been able to build his confidence just yet? Why would you give him 4 minutes? He's not going to do it in 4 minutes.
Yeah, I was listening to some of that court case the other day, actually, and I was thinking they were talking about the whole area of consensual, which is very, very important. Very, very important.
Absolutely.
But I was thinking, it went from, we were picked up in the back of a car. We went to a guy's house. We got a bag of Coke. We were doing a load of Coke. And then it switches to, but was it consensual? And I'm thinking, the world we live in now is crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely crazy.
You consensually sat in the back of the car and put the Coke up your nose, didn't you?
Yeah. Let's see what happens. Congratulations, President Trump, WWE Hall of Famer.
Absolutely. What a man.
What are you going for here in this Chelsea-Arsenal game? We round out the Premier League.
I'm going to go with the great ball, Joshua Zirkzee. He's done well. Could have back to him.
That's a miss. That's a miss.
Well, I don't actually think it's a miss. You know what I think the problem is? Look at the ball from Zirkzee. It's a great ball, right? He finds Fernandez. Fernandez sucks in the defender and pops it off to Rashford. Why doesn't Rashford pick out Zirkzee at the back stick? On his own, unmarked.
He was definitely trying to put it into the far corner anyway, that's for sure.
Absolutely. He doesn't see the other guy, is my point.
He probably didn't think Zirkzee would get there in time. Me and you would probably beat him in a run over 20 metres.
Jesus. I think score draw. I'm gonna go 2-2.
2-2. Interesting. Interesting. More pressure then on Arteta. Right. Let's have a quick reflection back on last night's Champions League. Anything stick out there for you that you want to?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to just give some flowers to our new manager.
Yeah.
Already the biggest success story in Manchester, and he hasn't even made it to the city yet. I have to say, I'm in a couple of football groups, and Phil Foden scored after 5 minutes, and City went 1-0 up. And of course, very suddenly we got the old, oh yes, Amran's at the wheel, beep, beep, you know. And then it went 1-1, 2-1, 3-1, 4-1. And all of a sudden, the group was really, really quiet. And it was fucking great. And I hope it's a sign of things to come.
Oh, you mean our WhatsApp group? Well, I was podcast.
No. It wasn't our one. I'm in a couple of different groups. It wasn't our group. Because we, again, the group that we got on, there's about 50 or 60 lads in it. So there's quite a bunch of guys. And there was lots of Liverpool fans and stuff like that. And it was, beep, beep, Amaran's at the wheel. And it was all going great. And then, boom. Goal after goal.
I would though keep my powder dry until we see when he arrives at Manchester and what he's working with, you know what I mean? Because he has some very good players at Sporting, let's be honest here.
Well, I won't answer that.
Well, you didn't answer that.
I don't need
Listen, you're very excited about a manager that we had a deep conversation about 3-4 months ago.
Listen, and I stand by what I said then. It's a huge step up. We know that. But I mean, step. it was just, you know, it was just to take the smile off a couple of faces the other night, you know, a couple of smug faces. I just thought, yes, you know how it goes.
Oh, some people drop comments in way too early. They need to pace themselves.
Yeah.
Morris, just to let you know, he gave Celtic their flowers earlier when you weren't on, actually.
Morris, I did. I absolutely did. And would you believe, I watched about 40 minutes the other night, Morris, and I put it into our own group chat. And I says, fucking hell, when did Celtic turn into, you know, prime Brazil from 94? They were electric. They were absolutely electric. They really, really were. And another guy who had a great game, Peter Pan in goal, Kasper Schmeichel, had another great game. Really, really good. Super performance.
Yeah, it can, you know, sometimes it can be when you get a good keeper like that in, you develop a bit of confidence.
Well, you know what they've done? And I said it previously, you know what they did really well? They replaced Joe Hart with like for like. Joe Hart and Kasper Schmeichel were both at City at a similar age. Kasper was a little bit younger, but two players at a really good standard and level. You know, two really, really good goalkeepers. And in the end, you know, they've taken Hart out of the team, and now Kasper's come in, and he didn't have a great time of it at Nice. He didn't love it there. And he's come to Celtic to, again, a big club to play and stuff like that. We're at the dizzy heights of 15th now in the in the Europa after tonight's win. Tell you.
There you go. Tell you. It's all falling into place. Morris is in the new format. I love it, to be honest. Morris, I was listening to the boys off AFTV last night after the Inter game, and they were saying that they're not big fans of the new format for the simple reason is you go away and you play Inter in the San Siro and you get beaten 1-0, say. But you don't get to play them again in the return leg at the Emirates. Well, what's your thoughts on that, Darren?
Yeah, like, I understand it. It's obviously something different. I spoke to somebody about this last night, and he actually said something very similar. I don't like it. And I said, do you know what? I don't think we've seen the best of it yet. I think when we get after Christmas, there's obviously 2 group games. They play 6 games up till Christmas, and then in January they play 2 extra group games.
Yeah.
And then we go to that knockout phase, that elimination phase, and then we go to the round of 16. And I think from the knockouts, I mean, you've got 32 teams in it, right? The top 8 go through, the bottom 8 leave the building, and that leaves you with that middle 16 for the eliminations. And then you've got the best 16 teams possible into the round, and I think they just absolutely kick 7 bells out of each other. And I think there's a lot of teams this year will fancy their chances more than ever, because they've shown over the league format that they can go places and pick up victories and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah. And it's amazing as well, because every 2 weeks you're facing a different challenge. You're either home or away, but you can't really, like, you're not getting Inter in the Emirates in 2 weeks' time. So you can't plan for that because you're going off to play someone else either.
Now, what I also...
Are they Sporting next or something like that? So they won't be relishing that either.
Arsenal, is it?
I think they do.
We spoke about it, and something tells me we spoke about them possibly not beating Inter. And I think it's the last 2 games that they look like they could possibly have an opportunity to pick something up.
I think the next 2 games are tough. I think they've Sporting next, and they were saying it last night. I don't know. Morris, you might know in the chat. They've 2 games coming up now that are really like must-win games, because they're right on the cusp there. If you look at the actual table at the moment, Villa are just hanging on by a thread.
Their next game, they're away against Sporting.
Yeah, real tough.
Who've just battered City, right?
Yeah.
But
won't have Amarin.
No, but I mean...
That's the only thing. But that's the only thing, you know what I mean?
That's the only thing. Then they're at home against Monaco. Monaco doing quite well there. Riding high in the league. Doing a good job. They then have to go... They're home against Dynamo Zagreb. I think that's the game. That'll help them.
Yeah.
That'll help them out. And then they're away against Girona in the last game. That's the one that could make or break whether they go up or down or stay in or out.
Yeah, I think, am I right in thinking Girona have been struggling in it?
Little bit, yeah, a little bit.
Where are Girona on the table? Oh, sorry, I'm not picking up the wrong one there.
They're pretty low, I think.
There it is. Girona are 29th, yeah. So I don't think that will be a problem for them.
It shouldn't be.
Yeah, Morris says he might be going to the Girona game, actually. Very cool. Nice.
Is he? Nice. Are you getting a letter from the Pope, Morris, or what's the story? Because we know those Arsenal tickets aren't cheap yet.
The Girona one might be cheap.
I doubt it. Not when the Ipswich is not cheap.
He's probably going. He's probably going in the Girona end with one of those 10 Hag turtlenecks on.
Quite possibly. Quite possibly.
Yeah, I would imagine it's be the Girona end. I would imagine. Wanted to get your thoughts. Home ticket, I hope. There you go. Home ticket, Girona or home ticket? Is it home ticket then? Yeah, so it's Girona, is it, or is he Arsenal? Home ticket.
No,
Girona.
it's in.
No, they're away, isn't it?
No, last game is Girona. Home.
Yeah, no, last game is Girona away, according to Morris.
So he's looking to go away to Spain to see an Arsenal game.
Yeah,
it's hardcore, isn't it?
Well, he's probably going away to Spain to see a Girona game at that stage.
Well, 29th of January, weather might be a bit kinder in Spain than it is over here.
And he has a Leicester ticket sorted as well. Fair play. Wanted to get your thoughts on this today. A little bit of biting back. The Times are reporting. This is following on from the obviously the 115 that's going on at the moment, but we know based on the previous arbitration back in June or July or whenever it was anyway, that Man City were considering suing the Premier League and clubs and stuff like that. Suing your buddy, so to speak, your home club, in relation to the situation in the arbitration. But now the Times' Martin Ziegler is coming out with reports that a number of Premier League clubs have reserved the right to seek compensation against City if there is a guilty verdict on any of the charges, far from indicating whether or not the club are guilty. However, it is said that this decision is due to a potential 6-year statute of limitation period for fellow clubs to take legal action. That is said to date back to November 5th, 2018, when German outlet Der Spiegel first posted leaked documents about City, which are being used as evidence in the case. As a result, therefore, clubs are seemingly reserving their rights to seek compensation before that deadline in the case, if it being necessary once the verdict is announced next year. Give me your thoughts.
I don't love the idea of it's cheaper than a ticket to the Emirates, Ryanair. Yeah, I'm not shocked, Morris. I don't love the idea of other clubs trying to look for compensation. If the FA, the Premier League, FIFA, UEFA, anyone you want, deem Manchester City to be guilty of something, they should be punished as such. But clubs shouldn't be looking at it as an opportunity, to get compensation from City to maybe bring their PSR in line. Do you know what I mean? I don't think that's the right way for things to go here, personally. And that's not to say that there wasn't, losses because of what happened. But I think, you've got to leave the judicial system of the FA and stuff like that, and of the Premier League, to say, here's what we've decided, and this is how it's going to go. And we're not going to drag football through, another messy court case after we've done the City thing and we punished them and stuff like that.
Well, we knew this case was going to be that kind of Pandora case, isn't it? Pandora box kind of case where, everyone and anyone who City have touched over the last 8-10 years or whatever it is will feel hard done by if they were potentially found guilty and stuff like that. And everyone would have a kind of a handout in terms of, if there's a certain amount of money that you receive for winning an FA Cup or a Carling Cup and you're in the final against them and it's deemed that they had done wrong, is there a case there? I don't like it either.
I don't like it because I think, I understand that if they didn't live within the rules and stuff like that, I get that completely. But I just think if they beat you on the football pitch, they beat you on the football pitch. That's...
Yeah, and I think the one thing we want out of this 115, isn't it, regardless of guilty or not guilty or whatever it is, that we can kind of put it behind us and move on and get back to football.
Draw a line, exactly. Draw a line under football and go back to...
The last thing we want on this podcast is to be sitting here talking about litigation week in, week out with different clubs and all this kind of stuff. And I just find it weird when you think about the makeup of the Premier League and how it was established and all that kind of stuff. I find it weird when you hear of clubs suing other clubs and stuff like that now. But it's like, I suppose the big one would be if you were affected by it and you were relegated.
I think
that's a big one, isn't it?
I think proving though that it directly affected you, is quite a difficult thing to do. Like, okay, if Manchester City have broke spending caps and have broke PSR and have charges and stuff like that relate to players and agents and finances and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't necessarily mean that Sheffield United would have beat them 4-0.
No.
And therefore not gotten relegated from the league on the basis that, because, okay, City might have had 40 million less in the PSR and they bought somebody for 60. So yes, they've gone through the PSR and they've got all these, deals on the books and stuff like that. But is that 20 million enough to leverage 30 or 40 points? Probably not.
Yeah.
And who's to say the guy that they brought in for 40 wouldn't have done the job at a 60 million pound player?
I suppose you get the whole argument. You get the whole argument that it's like, well, if they weren't able to do this financial stuff, would they have been able to assemble the squad that they did? And by answering that, then does it lead to other questions? And obviously it does, but it's not a road we want to go down. I don't think so anyway.
Not at all.
I think what should happen in this is if they are going to go down that road, it should be really, really quick, and it shouldn't be individual litigation, stuff like that. I don't want to be sitting here talking about, like, you know, Nottingham Forest versus Man City or whoever it is on the court.
Well, are we at a point then where that any team who was in the league for those years that City were living outside of their means, do they get a certain value of compensation per season?
Oh, I know what you mean. So Man City would throw 100 million into the kitty, and it's divvied up.
And it's divvied up, and obviously it's 20 teams per season times 3 seasons is 60 teams. So each team will get 1.8 million, and obviously of that 1.8 million, Liverpool would have been in 3 seasons, so they would get, you know, 5.4 million of it. Yeah. And then if you're only in it for 1 season, you get your 1. I don't know. I'm just.
And then you draw a line in the sand, and it's like an amnesty, and it's.
And then the only thing I would say is, I imagine if something like that was going to happen, you're not touching it with 100 million.
No, I just put that figure in there just for argument's sake.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I imagine
you could be talking 100 million a season. I don't know. Whatever way it is, who knows? You know.
Yeah.
But it would be very interesting, because I'd imagine you don't want to get wrapped up in all this litigation of that. And I'm sure the clubs don't want to either. Like, you know what I mean? The last thing they need is that, you know. Do any of you guys think City will be found guilty with any of these charges? And also, you think they will get a points deduction or just money fine? It's no good giving them a money fine, in my opinion.
Keith. I agree with you to a certain point, Keith. I think obviously having an endless pot of gold means you can reach down into it, and, you know, you can fix up any sort of a fine or any sort of a monetary thing. But I also do like the benefit that, you know, grassroots could get from that. Now, it won't affect me. I'm not in that country. I'm not part of that system. But if the FA and the Premier League decided to fine Manchester City 200 million, let's just say, and you know, obviously we've got to go through the legal side of it, and we're paying fees and there's this and that. And at the end of the day, there was 150 million left after everything was done and dusted. If that 150 million went into development of grassroots in the UK, be it pitches, be it equipment, be it extra hours for coaches to develop, you know, academies for kids in communities and stuff like that, I'd have no problem with that as a United fan. I would have absolutely zero problem with that, because I think if you take from the game to balance the books, you should give to the game. That's, you know,
it's very hard.
That's where I would be with it.
How do you arrive, if you were going down that route, how do you arrive even at a financial figure? How do you arrive?
I don't know
what's happened. You know, again, it depends on the charges, on the level of charges. Like, if a lot of the stuff isn't proved and we're only talking about the length of the grass or something like that, you know what I mean? It's a different conversation. But I mean, if they were found guilty of the 115 charges, for argument's sake, you know, I mean, how would you put a financial figure on that? Like, it's just mind blowing.
It would be mind blowing. I don't for 1 minute believe they're going to be found guilty of 115 charges.
We have
Morris. Not for 1 minute.
We've been bigging up Forest and Nuno and the players.
Morris, you know what you need to start doing, pal? Getting here on fucking time, yeah?
Hit that bell notification.
Right? Hit that like and share and all that. Subscribe, because we spoke about Nuno and we gave him flowers as well, and Forest, and the owner, and Edu. The whole shooting match, everybody. And Matt Sells and Murillo.
Yeah, we gave it to them all. Will we take a few bets?
Sure, let's.
Around it out. Right.
Are we gonna go like for like kind of thing?
Yeah, if you wanted to. Well, if we've done the bets, I presume, yeah.
Sure, we've done the usual 3 bets, have we?
I've done the card one, I've done the score and assist, and I've done both teams result and both the score. So I have
So
all them.
we're good to go.
We are.
Right.
We are.
Why don't we start off with my lowest price one? I'll go up through the prices, yeah?
Yeah.
So my lowest price one this week is to score assist.
Score assist.
Now I have 5 players here to score assist, and I'm not getting great odds. Like for 5 players to score assist,
Very tough.
26 to 1 for 5 of them.
Yeah. I did 4 and I got 25 to 1. Really tough.
You did okay, but you've obviously thrown a little bit of a curve in there.
I have.
Yeah. So I've gone in with Phil Foden, because obviously he scored the other night, and I think Phil at times can be that kind of a player that catches fire. So I think Foden score assist. I've gone Diaz on the back of his hat-trick midweek. I've gone Rashford against Leicester. I've gone Solanke for Spurs at home against Ipswich. And I've gone the Marathon Man, Bukayo Saka, in the game against Chelsea on Sunday. So Saka, Diaz, Solanke, Rashford, and Foden. Score assist anytime, 26 to 1.
I had 2 of your 5.
Well, you had Solanke and Diaz?
No, I had Diaz and Saka.
Okay. You didn't have Solanke?
No, and now that I'm thinking about it, it's but what's his odds? His odds must be woeful, are they?
8 to 13.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Now, listen, it's not bad on the tail end of a 4.
No.
Or, if you want to add something to it or double it up a little bit or something, but it's I think that's a shoe in anyway. The other 2 I had was Brian and Buemo for Brentford against Bournemouth. Banging form at the moment. And the other one was a man who's in great form at the moment, one Danny Welbeck against Man City.
Yeah.
So,
I wouldn't argue on any of them now.
I was shocked that Luis Diaz being evens money as well.
Well, for a goal or an assist, I was.
Yeah.
If it was to score any time, I'd be like, oh, it's a bit short. But to score or assist, I was like, well,
yeah,
I thought that was decent. Yeah. Yeah, I sure did.
Welbeck is 2 to 1.
Wouldn't have been such a big price if he wasn't playing Man City for my money. But don't forget, he's a Manchester boy. He likes scoring in Manchester.
Yeah. And they're not exactly defending for fun at the moment, are they?
They're sure not.
What's up next?
The cards. I've 3 cards. Again, I looked at 3 teams that I expect to lose the game. And I picked players from those teams on the basis that they're going to be under a certain amount of pressure.
Do you know when I go to do my cards bet?
Yes.
I go back and I look at your previous form on cards bets.
Right, okay.
And I cherry pick from that.
Okay.
That's how I arrive at my card bets. There you go.
Okay. I'll take that. I think West Ham are going to get the better of Everton at the weekend. And I think at times West Ham can be really, really quick on the break. And I just think it doesn't suit the likes of James Tarkowski.
And a great price as well.
Yeah, he's 11 to 4 here for me.
Just show you 3 to 1. Yeah, just show you 3 to 1. Yeah.
I think United will beat Leicester on Sunday. And again, a guy that quite regularly sees a card and can be a bit awkward at times, the boy Wout Faes at centre back.
I didn't go. I have the same match, but I didn't go with the same guy.
Okay.
I think I went with your other guy in this, who you normally pick. Another Leicester player.
Another Leicester player. It must be Wilfred Ndidi, is it?
No. I think you've picked this guy a couple of times. You've definitely mentioned him a couple of times.
Go on, give it to me.
Samari.
The only problem with Samari is he doesn't always play, but he's always good for a card.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, Boubacar Samari, that's right.
Yeah.
And I actually round out with Aston Villa. because I think Aston Villa will probably be under quite a bit of pressure at the weekend. And I think a man going back onto Merseyside might have a tough day at the office, and that's one Amadou Onana.
Interesting.
So we've got Tarkowski, Onana, and Faze. Yellow cards, treble, 32s.
I have an 80-1.
You have 4 rather than 3.
I have 4, yeah.
Yes, okay,
so
okay.
I went with your boy Tarkowski, and obviously I gave you Sumari.
Yes.
Another one I think you've mentioned before, if I'm
Give
wrong.
us the team first.
Southampton. Against Wolves.
Is it Flynn Downs?
Spot on.
Yeah.
Spot on. And then my final one was Crystal Palace versus Fulham. It's the Fulham player.
It's a Fulham player.
It
has to be.
Should be so obvious.
It has to be. Who's it got to be? Let's go Pereira.
No, I was going to do him, but I didn't. It's a guy who you've mentioned a number of times, a defender. Central defender.
Calvin Bassey.
No.
Oh, Joachim Anderson.
Yes, Joachim Anderson.
Right. Going back to Palace. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. Now I had a bit of a brain fart there.
Anderson, Tarkowski, Downs, and Sumare gives you 80-1.
2 centre backs, 2 centre midfielders, all through that spine of the team there, where a lot of stuff happens. Yeah, there. 80-1.
80-1.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
No.
Nothing wrong with that. I'm gonna round out with my biggest price. This is our result and about to score. I was looking for a little bit of value, so I pushed a little bit and I went to 4 teams.
I did 4 as well. This is where money can be made. There's good money and result and about to score this weekend.
And you know what? If you can do, and I know you don't at all ever look, but if you can do result and about to score in the championship, you could retire after a good Saturday. Like, it's that good.
Yeah.
And I'll actually might touch on something with you for a second after this. But I'm going Wolves, Liverpool, City, and United. Result and about to score.
Okay.
60-1.
Not too bad. Not too shabby.
What have you gone with?
It's 233-1.
Right.
And I personally don't feel it's a stretch, and I think it's in line with what I spoke about.
So you're definitely going for Brighton then?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm going for Liverpool against Villa and both the score.
Yeah, I have that anyway. Yeah.
I mentioned that I think Forest might get over the line against Newcastle 2-1.
Yeah.
So I have
not
Forest.
A stretch at all.
We both mentioned that probably West Ham will get over the line against Everton in a
I think so.
affair.
I think so.
And the final one is Fulham to beat Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park and both the score.
And that's probably going to be the toss of a coin. So, like, that's, what's it say here, 200 and what?
233-1.
Wow, that's value, isn't it?
Yeah, Fulham is 4-1, 6-4 for Liverpool, 4-1 for Forest, and just shy of 3-1 for West Ham, 11-4. Great odds.
Really good odds.
Yeah.
Really good odds.
Yeah, and nothing really stupid in it. Like, we're not going like Brighton against Man City, or, you know what I mean? We're not doing that in silly.
No, I wouldn't have thought so. Pretty good. I'm just gonna very quickly run into the championship here in my Paddy Power account, because again, it's not always easy to pick. But 2 things I will tell you about the championship. Every single week, there's at least one shock. Right? Every week, because don't forget there's 12 games. So you always get one. The other thing is, if you look at the championship week to week, it pretty much always outscores the Premier League because of the standard. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, with that in mind, if we look at last week, right, on the Saturday was 2, 4, 6, 8. There was 10 games on the Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Out of those 10 games, 5 of them finished with result on bout to score. That's half. So if you could pick some of those, it would give you a massive opportunity to pick up winnings. Now, like last week, the kind of big shocks in the championship was obviously Cardiff beating Norwich. Norwich were flying high, and Cardiff, who are languishing quite low down in the league, beat them 2-1. Like, that result on bout to score was probably about 6 or 7 to 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other one obviously was Coventry beating Middlesbrough 3-0 at the Riverside. Middlesbrough not getting on the score sheet, but again, there's opportunity to pick up big wins because of the prices.
Morris is saying the away prices are great in the championship too.
They're really good. They're really, really good. Like, QPR play Leeds at the weekend, right? I don't necessarily think QPR are going to win the game, by the way. However, Paddy Power will give you 12 to 1 on them. Like, there's only 3 possible results, lads. You know, so the draw in the QPR game is 5 to 1.
You could even look there. Could you go with like QPR even in a handicap there and still get 3-4 to 1 or something like that?
I tell you what, you could possibly go with. You could go with the draw no bet or double chance.
Okay. So
draw no bet, you get QPR at 8, Leeds at 1 to 33. Right? Or you go with the double chance, and the double chance QPR or the draw, they'll give you 4 to 1 on it. Like, that's massive.
You have Leeds at the moment scoring goals, aren't they? Though they scored 3.
They are. And listen,
Paul was over at the game actually.
Yeah, they should in theory blow them out of the water, but there's an opportunity 110% for you to make money in the likes of a championship game. The prices are never as low as they are in the league. Like, if in the Premier League. So with that in mind, there's always a chance that something you can pick something up. Like, what's a good bet at the championship of the weekend? Cardiff will beat Blackburn. Cardiff will absolutely beat Blackburn the weekend, right? If you do result on bout to score in the Cardiff game, Cardiff are 7 to 2, right? If I did them with Middlesbrough at home, Middlesbrough picked up a good win during the week. They're playing Luton. Luton are down on their feet, have been really, really poor this season. The championship obviously lost a couple of players and stuff like that. Really struggling back in the championship. If you went Middlesbrough, who aren't great at the back at times, but do score goals, if you went Middlesbrough and bout to score with Cardiff, and if you did one more, let's say Preston away to Portsmouth. And if you did Preston away at Portsmouth and you did result on bout to score, that treble pays you 78 to 1.
So a tenner, you're picking up 790, nearly 800 bills.
800 quid for a tenner. Cardiff, Middlesbrough and Preston, result on bout to score. It's not a stretch. It's really not. And as we said, the championship for me is the toughest league in Europe. Anybody can beat anybody on any given day. Really, really good.
Yeah, Daz is in. Got any good Premier League games to miss out this weekend?
To miss out?
Maybe what's he got? Ones to avoid, is it?
Oh, for bets, I personally think the Forest Newcastle game isn't a game I want to call.
Arsenal Chelsea, maybe.
Probably Arsenal Chelsea, definitely Newcastle and thing, and then the other one is Fulham Palace. They're the 3 games that you'll make money on if you'll go. If if you take them on.
If you get it, yeah.
Yeah, but like for me, Palace, Fulham, and Forest, Newcastle, and Chelsea, Arsenal.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be at all surprised to see 3 draws in them.
And the thing about it is, if you do move away from them, there is value in the other games there to construct a nice little bet. And
Yeah, there is. There sure is.
Yeah, absolutely. If you look at that result on both the score that I did, you put a tenner on that, you're looking at nearly, you're not far off $2,500, 2,400 nearly. No, not too shabby.
I have other plans for the weekend though.
Fair enough. What's it? Tomorrow night's the All Blacks, is it?
Tomorrow night is the All Blacks Ireland in the Aviva. I will have my All Black gear on tomorrow night. I'll be bringing that good heel heat to the Aviva Stadium tomorrow night. I'll be in the stands doing my own hacker. The whole fucking shooting match.
Dino will be on you again, questioning your loyalty.
I get questioned over every man.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. I'll send a pic for the jersey. Yeah, I'm going Morris. Yeah, I'll send the picture of me tomorrow in the jersey into the group just to give everyone that little Friday pep in their step, you know.
Yeah.
But the last time I was there, I had my jersey on, you know, and the guy sitting next to me in the stands says, "Have you come far?" Because obviously seeing the New Zealand jersey, just says, "Rahini." I just turned back around.
You could be mistaken for being a New Zealander, though. I mean, you're a unit, you know.
I'm a big lad. I'm a big lad.
He wears an All Blacks t-shirt usually too, Darren. There you go.
Send me a picture of Morris. I'll pick him out of the crowd. There's only 50,000 of us, in fairness. Like, there's probably only going to be about 10 New Zealand jerseys, so it won't be that difficult.
Maybe not by the end of the game. Maybe from the start, anyway. That's for sure.
It's great because, you know, obviously, when you go to a rugby match, all fans sit together. There's no segregation. And it's not, you know, you guys here, us guys here, or whatever. Now, that can go one of two ways. Obviously, if New Zealand score, I jump up and start dancing and singing, and everybody else is looking at me. But in the same way, the last day we were there, Ireland beat the All Blacks. And that was like the walk of shame going back through the crowd in the jersey. Yeah, you have it down more. But there was a lot of banter getting thrown. Now, it was in really good jest. There wasn't a word said out of sight, but, you know, there might have been a few. Take your jersey and wipe your arse with you. There's only one Ireland, and, you know, this kind of stuff. Sure thing, Tarquin. Oh, yeah, great. Point of
might get you, actually, if you get a chance tomorrow in the stadium, send us over a short and I'll throw it up on the page.
Absolutely.
Give us your thoughts on the game or whatever. There's something different we throw it up there for the crack, like, you know, just to mark the occasion.
And you know what's even better? Well, I don't know if it's better. Do you know what's even more unusual? I'm going with a Tottenham fan.
How did that come about?
Palomine Simon's a Tottenham fan.
Should we boo every anthem in the Aviva now so the FAI get fined 10 grand?
Morris possibly doesn't know this, but I was at the England game. And I have a video which I will share with him because I videoed it because I said to myself, I get the feeling this probably won't go so well. And I took the video out when they started doing the anthems, and it was horrific. It was horrific. They're not my videos that were used as evidence, I can tell you. However, they could have been, and they were pretty damning on both sides of the fence.
What time is kick-off, Dazzler, tomorrow?
8 o'clock, Friday Night Lights.
Under the lights, yeah. Whoever the Tottenham fan is supporting, back the opposite team.
Yeah, he's an Ireland fan. So I'll have my All Blacks jersey on with my United jersey underneath it.
Love it. Right, another good show. Don't forget, folks, thanks to everyone in the chat. Make sure you're checking out Morris's channel as well. Loads of good stuff going up there all the time, and anyone else's channel in the chat as well. We will be back. I'll be back probably tomorrow while Darren's at the All Blacks. I'll probably be doing a Villa preview. And then we'll be back again Monday mashup at the start of another week as we push towards Christmas, and then we'll be on a bit of a hiatus. We'll have to think of something to do. We might roll you over into a wrestling show next week, maybe, will we?
I'm sure we could.
Yeah, because we're going into national break, so we might push the wrestling show to Thursday. And we do
push the wrestling show to Thursday. That's the best idea. And we'll cover it then together next Thursday. Provided there's no Magic Kingdoms or fucking, no back doors getting opened or any of that shit,
Forbidden doors and all that, yeah.
Yeah, none of that. Down with that sort of thing.
I can't believe how you...
Are the forbidden door and the back door the same thing? They could be, in fairness, couldn't they?
I don't know. Looking at that court case that's going on at the moment, the back door might have definitely been a forbidden door. So that's all I'm saying. So I won't get into it any more than that. But until next time, folks, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button, drop a like in the video. Make sure you're having a good week. Enjoy the football. It's good at the moment, I have to say. Until next time, folks. Cheers, bro.